Hello, BookTube. You know, there are days in American life in the 21st century when the news cycle is so depressing that you have enough of it really early and you just retreat into books. And then there are days like today where before the news cycle even starts, you know what it's going to be like and you can just retreat into books ahead of time and not have anything to do with it. And that's what I've done today. I went to the Brattle Bookshop. I've been reading an enormous amount, and I have mail. I had a junk package. Wasn't a book or anything that you can hear the bean is destroying right now. But as a warm-up, I have book packages here that I thought we'd retreat together into the mail today and just see whether or not there's anything that's squeal-worthy. So we'll start with this first one and see what we have. We'll try to make the best of it. So, what have we here? Okay. This is by Matt Haig. It's from Penguin. It has a cover art by Stephen Fry, and it is Notes on a Nervous Planet. Headlines like "Chronic Loneliness is a Modern-Day Epidemic" and "Instagram Worst Social Media App for Young People's Mental Health" are punctuating the front pages and home pages of news outlets across the world. The 21st century has given birth to marvels of human ingenuity. Smartphones and social media have connected us more than ever before. But this 24/7 modern world is messing with our minds, doing unprecedented damage to our mental health. When we leave the office, for example, we take it with us in our purses and pockets, checking work email on our phones in a car, or on the commute home, or in bed before falling asleep. On social media, we're pressured to present the prettiest, smartest, funniest version of ourselves while compulsively tallying our likes and comparing to the accounts of our friends, co-workers, and those highly filtered influencers. It's no surprise then that at least to international best-selling author Matt Haig, that the rates of stress and anxiety are rising dramatically in the Western world, and that even though we are more connected, many are feeling more alone. In his new book, he draws on personal anecdotes and observations, as well as advice and studies from psychologists, novelists, philosophers, historians, and researchers. Notes on a Nervous Planet is a warm, encouraging, and fascinating endeavor to place mental health in the context of 21st century society. Okay. All right. So I assume this comes out next year. Yes, this comes out in February. Okay, well, certainly couldn't get any more current than that. I have to resist. I always have to resist when I read articles like that. I just did read an article on this exact same subject just today. I always have to resist the urge to simplify things too much and say, I don't care how many clinical studies there are that show that screen time is actually physically addictive. You can control yourself. You could stop. You can put it away. I have to control the urge to simplify things like that. It could just be that some people are more prone to such things than other people. I might just not be prone to those things. Or it might be a question of early childhood training or whatever. One way or another, as I mentioned on this channel, though, there are a lot of you who are new. So every night at midnight, I turn into a pumpkin. I turn off the world. I turn off the phone. I turn off the internet. I turn off everything. I turn off the computer as well. No writing, only reading. I turn at midnight to reading, and don't notice I don't care about anything. The world just fades away. It would have to come and knock on my door to have any effect on me at all. And it's something I look forward to, especially in a hyper-connected day. I look forward to it, and I can't help but think that anybody would if they made themselves do it. I know it's a classic old coot thing, but I don't see a whole lot of people making themselves do things. But one way or another, I've been eating up books like this. There was one last year about how screen technology and interconnectedness and social media are making the dumbest and most unhappy generation of young people ever. And I didn't know quite what to make about that. It seemed overdone, and I don't know. The pub sheet goes out of the way to call this optimistic, so maybe it won't be quite so Chicken Little-ish. One way or another, I can't wait to read it, although I will wait to read it, because I'm not going to read any 2019 books. in 2018. So let's see. I don't know if I mentioned, but this mail haul ends not only with a box, but with a box from my favorite publisher. So it could be something really good. Oh, fantastic! Oh, great! Oh, how lovely! Okay, this comes out. This comes out any day now. I thought this was out already. Maybe not. Let's see. No, it comes out in late October. Okay, it comes out in late October. And I think we saw it on this channel before, but in between then and now it has undergone a small change. This is a novel by Sarah Perry, who had a breakout hit with The Essex Serpent. And the original, the advanced copy of this book that I got was called Malmuth. This one is called Review Copy Not for Resale, which is kind of odd, because Malmuth is a more evocative title, I would think, but for especially something that's a modern-day Gothic, Review Copy Not for Resale has a kind of a mechanical ring to it. But that's the publisher's decision. I'm assuming that that's the title of the book because that is by far the biggest and most noticeable thing on the cover. So it's only the title of the book that will deface the cover of the book and be totally unremovable. There's something else, almost looks like the word Malmuth, but with a wet rag, I could rub it right off the cover, whereas nothing could get rid of this. Not acid will get that off the cover. So I'm assuming that's the title of the book. So we have, this is Sarah Perry's follow-up to The Essex Serpent. It's a modern-day Gothic story. And I've had the advanced copy, which was called Malmuth, for quite some time. I haven't got to it. And not for the usual reason. The usual reason that I'm hearing from people, bookish friends of mine, is that they love The Essex Serpent so much that they're hesitant to read this one because they're afraid it won't be as good. That's not my reason. I just haven't got to it. I've been swamped with September books. But October is just days away. So once it's actually October on the calendar, I won't have any justification to be guiltily rummaging around with the books that are September releases. I'll do a few just as a desperate game of catch-up and then straight on to October. And in October, Review Copy Not for Resale is going to be one of the biggest fictional releases, I would think. So anyway, let's move on. Can't say I'm 100% behind the change in title. But anyway. What's that? Huh? Let's see here. Oh. Okay. Alright, what is this? This is due, I'm sure you are due in October. You must be due in October. Everything in the world is due in October. Yes, October. This is a translation. This is Inez Pedrosa, translated by Andrea Rosenberg. It's called In Your Hands. A slim and sort of moody-looking thing. Lyrical, elegant, and complex, In Your Hands begins in 1935 Portugal in the grip of Prime Minister Salazar's authoritarian regime, where upper-class Jenny finds herself in an unusual situation. Her beloved, charming husband Antonio is gay. His lover Pedro lives with them, and she is the third wheel in the relationship. To keep up appearances, Jenny makes her peace with an unconventional arrangement. Husband and wife host salons for the political and cultural elite, and in private, the trio learns to find common ground and raise a daughter together. 30 years later, daughter Camilla, a photojournalist who has captured the revolutionary fervor and tragic loss of her family and country, reminisces about the man she lost her heart to, a guerrilla fighter she encountered during her travels through Mozambique. Okay, so we start in 1935 Portugal with a fascinating domestic arrangement. Then we're going to leave that behind, and go on to this photojournalist. I guess I'll have to read it to find out. I'm intrigued, but I think if I were this author, I would have concentrated on one or the other. But anyway, actually, who is this author when she's at home? Maybe some of you know her better than I do. She was born in 1962. She earned a degree in communication sciences from Universidade Nova de Lisboa before working in the press, on radio, and in television, earning several journalism awards and serving as director of the Casa Fernando Pessoa Publishing House from 2008 to 2014. Okay, and so she's well known in Portugal, I guess. And In Your Hands is her English language debut. Good for her. All right, so that's more fiction. All right, let's move on to this thing here. It's heavy, and it's one of these cardboard things, but somebody has taped it to make sure that it doesn't fall apart. So it could be a great big finished copy. Great big finished copies are, of course, good. What? Oh, it is a great big finished copy. Oh my. Oh, wonderful. Okay, this is also an October release. This is going to be a delight. I have only barely scratched the surface of the advanced copy that I got, so this is lovely. This is the latest production from the legendary Otto Pezler. This is the Big Book of Female Detectives. Look at the size of that thing. These are wonderful productions from Black Lizard. Is this? Yeah, this is Vintage Crime, Black Lizard paperbacks. They're huge. First of all, Otto Pezler does not believe in short anthologies. He makes huge ones, and his fans love it. I love it. I think he's such a good picker of material that you want them to be bigger. But it's not only is it well done, it's nice and floppy so that you can hold it open on your lap, but it's also double columned. So you get even more material. This thing is $25, and it's one of the rare instances where you're getting your money's worth. Fantastic. So this is just move over Sherlock Holmes and make way for the sharp-witted, quick-thinking women in these 74 hand-picked female detective stories. Whether calmly unraveling intricate murder plots on a long-distance train ride, staying one step ahead of their male counterparts at Scotland Yard, or bamboozling bad guys in the city's underbelly, these women always get their man. I can't wait. The one or two that I read in the advanced copy that I have were wonderfully chosen. Just wonderful stuff. Great. Okay, fantastic. Let's move on here. Oh, great. Okay. All right. This I think comes out next year. So no. Oh no. This comes out in October. Good Lord. This comes out at the end of the month. This is Bright Young Dead by Jessica Fellows. This is another in her Mitford Sister murder mystery series. I read the first one. I thought there's no way this will work. The Mitford Sisters as any kind of sleuth just will not work. They're great personalities, yes, but in terms of thinking logically, not so much. But it was the first one that I read. What was it called? The Mitford Murders? Yeah, the Mitford Murders was utterly delightful. And this is, the title refers to Bright Young Things, to what the whole social movement of the Bright Young Things that had the Mitford Sisters at its heart. A wonderful freelance writer for Open Letters Monthly once wrote about the Bright Young Things. I'll have to remember to find her piece, get her permission, of course, to link to it, and then link to it so that you can all read up on the Bright Young Things and what they were like. But one way or another, the first book, The Mitford Murders, sold me completely on the whole thing. So I will gladly gobble this thing up, and I will not have to wait because it's due right away. So that's okay. That's all right. All right, we're getting closer to the box here. This is our next one. It's heavy. Could be a finished copy. I do very much appreciate your company while we do this. I really do. I don't say that often enough, but I do appreciate you letting me open my mail with you. Oh, fantastic! Oh, great! Fantastic. Okay, I don't have a Bean. Is there any kind of? I don't want to disturb your flow here, but is there any kind of paperwork in there? No, there isn't. Okay, this wonderful. This is Peter Judson. This is the paperback of the Habsburg Empire. His big history of the Habsburg Empire. There is the fateful couple, Franz Ferdinand and his wife. And I wonder if I'm blurbed on this at all. No? Are there blurbs all throughout here? I reviewed it. I don't think... Well, I mean, no, there are blurbs on it, but I don't think my review was wholeheartedly positive. Although I loved it, and I do recommend it. And I didn't think I'd be getting it in the paperback. This is a Belknap Press paperback. Very nice, especially since I don't think I still have the hardcover. Wonderful. Okay. And then let's move on here. What's this next one? A finished copy of something. Oh, okay. All right. This is another October book. Oh, good Lord. This is The Wake of the Whale by Russell Fielding. The subtitle is Hunter Societies in the Caribbean and North Atlantic. Kind of a nice cover design. I noticed that when originally, and it's grown on me since then. This comes out in the first week of October. Sightings of pilot whales in the frigid Nordic waters have drawn residents of the Faroe Islands to their boats and beaches for nearly 1,000 years. Down in the tropics, around the islands of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, artisanal whaling is a younger trade, shaped by the legacies of slavery and colonialism, but no less important to the local population. Each culture, Russell Fielding shows, has developed a distinct approach to whaling that preserves key traditions, while adapting to threats of scarcity, the requirements of regulations, and a growing awareness of the humane treatment of animals. Yet these strategies struggle to account for the risks of regularly eating meat contaminated with methylmercury and other environmental pollutants introduced from abroad. Fielding considers how these and other factors may change whaling cultures forever, perhaps even bringing an end to this way of life. All of those cheating weasel words all throughout there. Not the publicist's fault who wrote this. They're all throughout society, not just this pub sheet. There's no such thing as a murdering way of life. There's no such thing as a social anthropologist who says, well, yes, there's a group of people out there in the Borneo rainforest who regularly kill anyone they find. They chop their feet off, and then they torture and boil them to death. And, you know, if you invite one of those to come as an exchange student at your school and he starts to kill and boil people, I'm sorry, it's just a cultural difference. There's nothing else that we can do. There's no such thing as a murdering culture. That we are all animals. It's not humane treatment of animals done by something that isn't an animal. The whales that are being hunted and killed here live for 80 years, raise their children lovingly, have different languages, have different dialects within those languages, create epics, language epics that they then hand on. Not only the content, but also the performance. They have compassion that reaches outside of their own species. They understand everything about their own identity and their own mortality. They are no different from humans except that they don't have thumbs. There is no acceptable cultural ground for allowing a society of any kind to murder them for even an extra hour. I don't care how many thousands of years you've done it. I don't care whether it's artisanal or not. You should be physically stopped immediately. There is no such thing as a murdering culture. And that might explain why I haven't got around to this book yet, because I have a feeling it's going to pump up my my blood pressure on a day when I don't want that. There'll be days when I won't mind it so much, but I'm going to give this a wide berth today. And then the last thing we do here is the box. It is a box from W.W. Norton, and we'll see what it contains. Almost certainly a finished copy of something. It was just too big to fit in a book. What have we got here? Oh, Bean, do you want this box? Are you up for a box? I don't know. It's a little big. You're undaunted, though. Okay. Oh, God. Okay. Yeah, this is too big to fit in an envelope, all right. Oh, my. It's lovely. Wow. Did not anticipate that. Okay. Okay. All right. This comes out... what's today? This probably came out on Tuesday. It's new in paperback. It was a box, but it's a paperback reprint, just like the Habsburg Empire, only 3 times as big. This is Alan Moore's book, Jerusalem. It's his enormous book, Jerusalem. Well, I have to say, that is gorgeous. That is just a gorgeous paperback of the actual book had a very elaborate cover design. The hardcover had a very elaborate cover jacket design. It wasn't anything like this. That's wow. Very nice. Steve approves. So this is a $25 paperback. It has a blurb from the Washington Post. which says phantasmagoric, a massive literary achievement for our time and maybe for all times simultaneously. The Guardian says magnificent, sprawling, cosmic epic. To put it mildly, I did not see that in this book. And the one-paragraph description is, in decaying Northampton, eternity loiters between housing projects. Among saints, kings, prostitutes, and derelicts, a timeline unravels. Second-century friends wait in urine-scented stairwells. Delinquent spectators undermine a century with tunnels. And in upstairs parlors, laborers with golden blood reduce fate to a snooker tournament. Through labyrinthine streets thread ghosts singing hymns of wealth and poverty. They celebrate the English language, challenging mortality post-Einstein, and insist upon their slum as William Blake's eternal holy city. Fierce in its imagination and stupefying in its breath, Jerusalem is the tale of everything, told from a varnished gutter. Oh, okay. All right. The little groan escaping me here is because, as a professional reader, that's pretty much all I do is read. I feel like I have to read this again. I feel like I do. That's groan-worthy right there. I thought I gave it its fair shake. I wanted it to be the lifetime epic that it clearly has been gestating to be, and instead it struck me as just wool-gathering. Maybe I have to read it again. Okay, well. All right, so that's our mail haul, plus the sounds of destruction in the background. We have Jerusalem by Alan Moore, the writer of The Watchmen, in a lovely trade paperback, I must say. Then we have The Wake of the Whale, about cultural and artisanal whaling in the 21st century. We have The Habsburg Empire in a trade paperback from the Belknap Press. We have Bright Young Dead by Jessica Fellows. Her next Mitford murder series book should not work, but does. Then, look at this glorious thing. The Big Book of Female Detectives from Otto Penzler. Wonderful. And with Otto Penzler, you know, even if you don't know anything about him, you take my word for it, you are going to get an enormous breadth of selections. It's not going to be the typical anthology just done all over again. It's wonderful. It's wonderful to know you're in such good hands. Then In Your Hands by Inez Pedrosa, her English language debut. In review copy not for resale by Sarah Perry, her follow-up to The Essex Serpent. And Notes on a Nervous Planet by Matt Haig, about how social media makes us corrosively unhappy, and yet we can't stop. We can't look away from it. There are a lot of books turning up like that. More and more people are realizing, more and more professional people of letters, men and women who've written and concentrated on printed paper books their whole life, are realizing in 2018 that they can no longer concentrate the way they once did. That when they put their phone away, they find themselves picking it up again in 5 minutes. Tops. And they're starting to view that ontologically. They're starting to look at that as an actual phenomenon. I still don't know where I stand on that. To me, it seems like rather than take a step back and in pearl-clutching horror look at that as a separate phenomenon, why don't you just look at it as boring old garden variety laziness on your own part and simply fix it? But maybe there's more to it. So I eagerly gobble up all such books. So that's our mail for today. There were 2 enormous books in this mail. 2 behemoths in paperback. Anyway, I might use one to counterbalance the other, but I think they both are on my docket for next week. So I have to go back to Jerusalem, don't I? I do. I have to do it. Oh, God. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you for your company, BookTube. I will see you soon.